seeing a lot of videos of Europeans gushing about how amazing American food is, but I'm seeing a lack of coverage on the poops they're having afterwards.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. We've got news and use for you this week, minus the use, just news. We have the Mattitude Eric. I'm Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, everybody, and apologies for this being a day late, but we had a good reason for it involving Mr. Matt Fowler.
I had diarrhea. No.
I mean, that would have been a valid reason as well.
That would have also been a valid reason. I had a thunderstorm here roll through the other morning, yesterday morning, and it knocked out my power from like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. I don't know what time. It was early to like 4. So that was fun. Not tell your mom I said not, Eric.
I will absolutely tell her.
It means it wasn't fun. I'm saying it wasn't fun. Power outages are so boring, and they also feel like a waste of a day and like lost time in a way. Like they've stolen a year of my life. It's like the fucking Count from Princess Bride. But we're back, baby. We're back. One day later, Return of the Mac. Eric Goldman, will Obsession? It's gonna overtake Grogu, right? Like it's gonna make more than the Star Wars.
It already did. Yeah.
Okay. I just looked at it. It was at 305 million and Grogu was like 316.
I guess you're right. Worldwide. Yeah. So passed it domestically easily. Has back rooms. Obsession is absolutely going to, because Obsession, which, this week passed 300 million and its drops keep being so small. I guess it's a question of how much it holds up internationally, but it's going to pass. Yes. It's going to pass Mandalorian and Grogu worldwide. It's
interesting because we talk about, and they are sort of the same story, right? Not exactly, but pretty much enough that you could just write about them and speak about them in the same sentence, which is like Obsession and Backrooms. Backrooms inching close to 300 million, probably won't pass it, but it's still such a huge movie. And I just have to say, I think Obsession had a lot more legs because of its social commentary about relationships and dating. Also, it was filled with young people. Like they're playing 20s. Backrooms is for old people, Eric. They're people in their 30s or 40s. So I'm just saying more young people are going back over and over again, I think, to see Obsession than Backrooms. But they're both still staggering hits.
They're both insane hits. They're also, they're huge spoilers for anyone who tried to do a summer movie predictions list. This completely fucked up everyone.
Well, there are certain ones where I'm like, we knew He-Man wasn't going to do well. We knew Mandalorian and Grogu was going to be light. There were things we knew. Like you couldn't just say these are the movies to watch: the Star Wars and the He-Man. No,
yeah. But the funny thing is, some people saw Backrooms coming because some people who were more in tune with the online following of it all were like, this is going to open big. And the closer we got to opening weekend, I kept seeing predictions rising for it. Now, still, 80 million. It had one of the biggest horror movie openings ever. And that's what makes it insane. And since then, it's dropped like a typical horror movie. But that's fine when you have one of the biggest openings ever and you cost $10 million and you're still an insanely big hit. Obsession, of course, it is so insane because it opened with 16 million, which was great for a movie of its size. And it's never gone back down to its opening weekend. It still has never gone back to just making what it made opening weekend. And so that's the story of the summer, I think, is just because that kind of staying power just never happens. It's like, that's like a once in a generation type.
I'll say this. If I were Curry Barker, I'd never want to make another movie. It'd be too daunting, Eric. But I guess he is because he has signed his name on the dotted line with Universal Film Group alongside Blumhouse, Atomic Monster, and they landed his first follow-up release. Now, this isn't the Ghost movie. It's the next movie after that, right? Like the next.
And so the thing is like, as you're saying, it's going to be daunting, whatever he does next. Now, he's lucky. He already filmed the movie. The Ghost movie is already filmed.
I mean, so his choice has already been made for him because he already was making another movie about like, it's a very Frightener style premise, which is like fake ghost hunters, like meet real ghosts, something like that. But yeah,
yes,
it's already handled. Whether or not like it's good, we don't know. But like it's not going to. I don't think it's going to have the cultural moment legs that Obsession does. And
How
I
can
feel
anything?
bad,
Yeah.
but I just feel like, man, to have your next project be so under the microscope like that too. And I know that other directors have faced that with like big hits, but these are people who already had a footprint in the industry, even if it wasn't in horror. So like Jordan Peele's follow up to Get Out was going to have a lot of eyes on it, right? Like,
right.
it's just the way these things kind of go. But this is a very sort of specific lightning in a bottle circumstance. So, but yeah, he follow up with a rich 8-figure deal. So
yeah,
you don't have to worry about Curry too much.
Yeah. Yes. And in the middle of that, of course, he also signed to do Texas Chainsaw Massacre with A24 before Obsession opened. It's not clear yet which he'll make first, Chainsaw or this other movie, this mystery project, which is said to be an original idea, something he already had a concept for. So I guess it's gonna be. We'll see which one happens first, but yeah, not shocking that he's getting this amazing deal because this is he'll never be able to match the he might not it'll be hard to match the box office success alone, and then the cultural cachet. It'll be under a microscope in a way that's going to be really tough. His next movie is going to be interesting because it's a much more overtly comedic movie, and he's the star. It's him and Cooper Tomlinson, who played Ian, who made a lot of goofy YouTube comedy shorts together. And I've watched a lot of them, and they're very funny. But it's just the idea that that's going to be the follow up. Like if Tarantino followed up Reservoir Dogs with like him starring in him and Michael Madsen in a goofy comedy. People are gonna there are gonna be knives out because people love to take down someone they just built up.
Absolutely.
What are you gonna say? Sorry.
It's the cause celebrate. It's like people have been loving to do that forever, but it's more hyper focused and crueler now, I feel. Man.
Yeah, social media age, it seems to like really get off on that. But in the bigger scheme of things, it's like the movies he actually makes after Obsession. Yeah, we're not going to see that for a little while, but yeah, he'll be well compensated when it does happen, and that's not a shock.
Speaking of Universal, in a few weeks here, we've got this Universal Kids Resort opening in Frisco, Texas. A lot of things happening in Frisco, Texas, including Samuel L. Jackson being all over the place filming Frisco King. It's a weird time in this weird suburb that never ever deserved to have any sort of national notoriety. Anyway,
Matt, you brought it. You were like, you went there, and people were like, wherever Matt goes, we got to go. That's the hot happening place.
And hell's coming with me. And I was flooded, the algorithm just sort of like flooded me with. I guess they had Influencer Day, or maybe the thing you would have gone to.
It was media, which means these days like probably 60%.
It was all
you. Yeah.
It was all like Instagram reel people, and they just got to eat look at all the food I ate today, and it was like all the food. I'm like, okay, like you just took pictures of it and had bites, but like because it's like unlimited food. But Eric, the place looks terrible, and all these people had to
bad,
and remember I was telling you about it. I was like, the pictures of this place look really.
I agreed with you. I agreed with you. Yes.
It's like if you turned a corner in back rooms and there was a Shrek room, like that's what Shrek Swamp looks like. It's bad, and. So the funny thing is, I was basing my initial judgment on the photos that the promotional photos they had on their website, or just like in news articles being written about this place before it was even construction was built. And those look bad. Yeah. And the reality looks worse than the touched up photos that they had for like, this is Minions Land. I'm like, okay, that looks dumb, but now it just looks it again. And it's super tiny small. We know that it's and when they say kids resort, now we're really talking elementary school age kids. Like this is not like 10 or 11-year-olds even, really. This is like babies.
Yeah.
And it looks really bad. But anyway, my point is that like I was flooded with Instagram people saying like how great it is. Like a few would say, now keep in mind it's for kids, but mostly it was just all the fucking gilding lilies that they do, right? Like it's all the fucking, like you wouldn't believe, like these rides were actually fun. And then a day or two later, I get the real people saying, or like, I don't know, I guess the contrarian web going like, yeah, this looks terrible. Like all the like stitching their comments into these influencers videos. That's my Universal side tangent because it's like 10 minutes for me, but it's because it was a place I was interested in,
of course.
But now I'm like, I don't want to pay $50 for, like, there's nothing I could do. Honestly, I was like, I wish you could just pay $5 to go to the merch shop, because I would buy SpongeBob shit, but like that's it.
Right, right. It's
Yeah.
like, yes, obviously it's made for it's a family park with little kids in mind. I get that, but there is a version of that is just looking at Universal's current parks. The Secret Life of Cats and Dogs, or Pets, sorry, which is aimed at, which is a dark ride. And it's just a cute little dark ride with cute, well done, production design. And I barely go on it because it's not really made for me, but it's there and it's a well done ride. Or obviously the Minions actual ride, which is, a movie screen, Star Tours type ride. It's like they could do stuff like that. This is so like low rent carnival. And
it looks like somebody put a scrambler down in a parking lot and then like put up a sign with a minion on it. Like,
and for them to say this is the first ever Shrek ride in the US, and then you look at it and it's just a carnival ride with some Shrek standees, like,
right.
like
no, exactly. It's the standees and like signs in the like on concrete. You know, like,
yes, instead of like an actual immersive.
There's no immersive experience at all.
An immersive dark ride that you could do with Shrek easily. And I saw people kind of their analysis. People, not the influencers are going to love everything, but some other people talked about how, like, obviously the idea of this is Universal's they're almost trying to franchise, which is to say, I mean, they own this, but it's like, what are smaller scale ideas that are easier for us to replicate for more regional experiences? But the one that people brought up a lot as a comparison point was Legoland, with the idea that the Legoland looks way better than this. And I've been to Legoland and it does. Like, it is more colorful, is more vibrant, is more appealing visually.
You have all these IPs that you could like.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just didn't spend the money. That's all. Like, the place is very small. Again, for kids, fine, but like they picked a small area and they did very little with it. So the most interesting part of this park are the multicolored buildings that sort of like act as the gate / hotel for this thing, which are like all these different pastel colors. But that's it. Okay.
Yeah, honestly,
Curry, this is who you want to sign with? This is what I'm saying,
I think there are more other elements. But also,
what if he breaks his deal after he sees the fucking video from this park?
Circling back, but it's funny because, as people pointed out, it's like this is a year after they opened Epic Universe, which is nothing but super immersive, elaborate, cool rides and stuff. And so it's like this is the pendulum swings. But yeah, and I really like Horror Unleashed in Vegas, which is obviously their like year-round horror nights thing, which some people aren't as big on, but I think for what it is, it's done well, and I think it overall, I definitely think it's a fun experience. But, and again, we haven't been inside this park, but looking at this video, it's like, yeah, this is not they're putting their best foot forward as far as what they can do here.
Speaking of famous Michael Myers roles, Mike Myers was on.
Okay.
Well, for Shrek.
I had to think on that for a second. Yes. Okay. Sure.
I think it's because I said Michael Myers instead of Mike Myers. Where you're sort of like, what is that? Okay. So
I did. Yes.
Yeah. Trevor Noah's World Cup watch party is a thing during the World Cup, and Mike Myers was on it. And when asked if we were ever getting Austin Powers 4, he just said yes. Run the headlines. Mike Myers says that Austin Powers 4 is happening. I can't say that this would never happen. I can't even say if it's a good idea or not. What I think will happen is that it will go to a streamer and it will have a lot of like buzz ahead of time, and then it will be meh, and then everyone will forget about it. That's what I think. Anyway.
I disagree on the streamer thing. This is a Warner Brothers property. They will want this to be a big deal. What we should mention here is they did a new commercial where he plays Dr. Evil, and it's him and Seth Green.
What's the commercial for?
It's a phone. It's Verizon. I can't remember. Fuck, How am I supposed to remember?
So he was he was like fucking in the makeup for Dr. Evil, and he's like, yeah, I could get back into this.
Well, okay. So, it's for it's Verizon. Yeah. So, and everyone's Mindy Sterling, Seth Green, and Rob Lowe. It's not I'm a Robert Wagner, but they use Rob Lowe as number 2. And so
For flashback, Robert Wagner.
Sure, sure. Like Dr. Evil says. But anyway, so it's the four of them. They do the whole thing. They do the bit. It's like a 2-minute commercial, Dr. Evil shtick. But look, Mike Myers famously trepidatious about anything, second guesses himself, drops out of things, could have done like a lot more movies than he's done. If he wasn't sort of, just overly.
And some of the movies he did, which are pretty bad, could have been better. Maybe if he didn't second guess himself and be weird about things.
Sure, right.
As somebody who had to review Netflix's The Pentaverate back like 4 years ago or whenever it came out, which was pretty bad. Yes. Which was like his return. It was like he's going ultimate clumps here. Like he just played like all these different roles like crazy, and it was bad.
Right. But we're at an era. A couple things I think are happening here that mean that why an Austin Powers will probably happen, which is just the era of like the nostalgia for both 90s and early aughts is here strong now that generationally we've moved to that. And the fact that he's doing Shrek 5, right? They got him to do that. And so it's like he's going to be Shrek again. And so it feels like inevitable.
I want to know what he thinks of the Universal Kids Resort, because maybe he'll not want to do Shrek anymore.
Right. I came back for this. Anyway.
They lose Mike Myers. They lose Curry Barker. They lose.
But so I do. If this happens, and I think it probably will. Yeah, I do think Warner Brothers goes big on it. Whether it ends up good or not, we'll see. But I think that they like try to make it a big deal because, has Master of the Universe bombs. Everyone's like, that's it. We've done everything we can with 80s stuff. And now it's like, all right, don't worry. We still have
the thing about Masters of the Universe, though, is that Masters of the Universe burned bright, but so briefly. And by the time Ghostbusters 2 came out, and the Ghostbusters themselves were passé within their own movie, and they were at a birthday party, and the kids were screaming He-Man, I remember sitting there literally in the theater being like, nobody likes He-Man right now.
Right.
Like
that's old news.
It was already gone. Like we didn't even want the Masters of the Universe movie in the late 80s. Like it was over.
Right. But yeah, now they're going to shift. Hollywood will not, it's and again, it's like, the success going back to Obsession and Backrooms. It's great. Like, we need movies that are original concepts, or in the case of Backrooms, like an underground concept. These things are not, pre-packaged IP. I want that. I want more of that. But to think that Hollywood will turn away from franchises is insanity, especially when Super Mario is still the #1 movie of the year and Toy Story just had the biggest opening of the year. They just will shift what they're doing, and doing it to Austin Powers 4 just feels like an inevitable part of that.
I mean, I'm actually not shitting on Austin Powers as a franchise. I'm trying, the state of the actual IP in 2026. I remember seeing the first movie and thinking it was a fucking revelation. It was so goddamn funny.
It's so funny.
And the second one was pretty good too. I think it were diminishing returns.
It's a diminishing returns.
As most things, especially like when you start getting into the movie within the movie and Tom Cruise playing him, it's like it's gotten bigger than it needs to be to maintain its funniness in a certain way.
Diminishing returns is obviously normal for sequels anyway, but especially comedy sequels, notoriously hard to do, even one good one. And so Austin Powers, I think, has the Naked Gun trajectory of like more. There's laughs in each movie. It's just like you're stretching them out more each time you revisit it.
So he says it's happening. We shall see.
But let's talk about the one that we have much more information on actually happening.
The one that's actually happening, because the three main principal people involved are going to do it, but it's conceptually, it's the weirder one because it's a sequel to 2000's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, adaptation of Dr. Seuss story with Jim Carrey, with Carrey expected to return along with Ron Howard and Brian Glazer. And Imagine Entertainment as the producers.
I think
Ron Howard as director.
Grazer, right? You said Glazer.
What did I say?
With an L. You said GL, Glazer, but it's Grazer.
Oh, that's my stepbrother's name. Anyway,
there you go.
Glazer. Grazer, yes. So anyway, Jim Carrey, which is interesting. Again, like you never know what's in these mercurial stars' heads this late in their career, especially someone like Jim Carrey. Who also famously was miserable in the Grinch costume. Maybe they've made technological advances and that type of thing. Maybe there'll be some little CG enhancements here and there that'll help sort of assuage his discomfort. But anyway, I really like The Grinch Stole Christmas. So like, I like that actual take, and I love his performance in that movie. So I don't know how he's going to steal Christmas again, unless now he's stealing it from villains, because he, obviously the spoilers for the Grinch, but his heart grows to normal size, like at the end of the movie, and he's a good guy. Also, the emphasis of that movie in particular is that he was always the good guy, and the Who's were the pieces of shit. Like, that was the whole thing, is that it was all commercialized, and they were like, the Who's were the villains who bullied him as a kid. Like, it was already revisionist. So, and speaking of Mike Myers, I also have a weird warm place in my heart for his stupid Cat in the Hat movie. Again, these are movies my kids watch. That's the one where he decided the Cat in the Hat was going to basically be his Linda Richmond character from SNL.
See, I mean, I understand your relationship will be very different with these movies because you had kids, and so you had reasons to have them on way more. For me, Grinch was fine, and the makeup was amazing, and Carrey was giving it his all. Cat in the Hat was like, that one was hard wash for me. But I will say with Grinch that, again, it proves the sting. And he was a massive hit when it opened, but you can kind of feel this thing of both generationally. If you were a little kid when it opened, it made a big impact. But the other way that I could tell this is something that is meaningful to Universal on a monetary level is fucking Grinchmas at the parks. And we're circling back to Universal Parks. It's all full circle. Every year they do this, the Grinchmas event at Universal. Just the fact that they go big on that branding, and that it's clearly the Jim Carrey version of, like, that's who everyone is playing. Yeah. And I never really experienced Grinchmas till the last couple of years. And then I walked around and I saw how fucking popular Meeting the Grinch is, to the point where in Hollywood, there's 3 different places to meet him, because the lines were getting so crazy that they like spread it out. So they're like, okay, now we're going to add a second place to meet him for pass holders only. So then it's like, well, that will help alleviate the main line. And then it was still bad, so they added a third point where you get off the tram. They had a third Grinch. So it's like, okay, here's another opportunity.
Well, I could see, A, because of like nostalgia, and you saw it when you were a kid and stuff like that. But B, he's funny in that fucking movie. His lines are very funny. How much is scripted, how much is ad-libbed, I don't know.
Sure.
But then if you're going to take it to the next level, and you're going to have these cast members doing a Jim Carrey version of this Grinch and being silly and irreverent and maybe inappropriate and stuff like that. It's like basically like going to meet Ace Ventura, basically. Like you're going to meet a Jim Carrey sound alike, act alike, right? Like, so I can see that. And they're gonna razz you. They're gonna roast you a little bit, probably too.
Yes. And so that kind of was showing to me this is continually important to Universal. And they've seen the long life of this to the point that they're like, let's get the gang back together. And yes, it is funny that Jim Carrey, who's by his own saying semi-retired except for Sonic, it's like the only thing he keeps doing are the Sonic movies. But I guess, like you said, even as horrible as it was for him to do that makeup, now obviously they could promise him it's 25 plus years later. We've improved things. We'll make it a quicker process. But it is, I'm sure he'll be well compensated. But yeah, that he's, willing to do it again. So, hey, okay.
All right, there you go. We've got a cancellation and a renewal to talk about here. One is a show that, if I actually finished, I think I'd only watched 4 or 5 episodes of. I can't remember. I hadn't finished it. That I was probably going to recommend if it ended well and right and landed the plane, which was The Burrows, which was a series on Netflix. It was sort of like, it's basically, it's produced by the Duffer Brothers, so obviously everyone's going to say it's Stranger Things meets this. So I'll say it's Stranger Things meets like secluded desert retirement community, which already is suspicious from the get-go. But yeah, there's a sort of a monster that's offing residents and a sort of an uneasy coalition of the old people there. Alfred Molina, Alfred Woodard, Dennis O'Hare, Gina Davis, and there's more battle the monster, come together to figure out what's the mystery of this nefarious community. And it was a great leading role for Alfred Molina, who I don't think I've seen as a lead in anything. I'm not saying he hasn't played it, just it escapes me or I haven't seen it. So it was good. But it was interesting to see him as the nucleus of the show, which is really good. And he's a widower, recently widowed, who's going through grief and depression. And then these are his new neighbors who are all sort of different in various ways. But I enjoyed it, but it's gone. So I probably won't finish it, to be honest.
No, you should. Here's what I also haven't finished it yet, but I really liked what I've seen, and I've heard it has an ending that feels satisfying. So you should finish it. But it's that Netflix thing, right? Of like the show had premiered like 2 weeks before. I think it was still in their top 10, and then they said it's canceled, and it's like that thing of like no room to like grow, find an audience, let word of mouth spread. It's just like the algorithm. We decided it's the joke from was it Barry who did the bit about like, oh, your show's already canceled like day one. It's like it didn't hook in with like the right people. And so that's it, and so now there are some conspiracy theories out there that this was Netflix. Now I don't believe they would do this if the show was actually like incredibly watched. But there are people who think that maybe they were extra incentivized to not bring this show back if they didn't think it was doing great because the Duffer Brothers have left them for a new deal with Paramount.
I absolutely believe that they're remember what they did to Midnight Club too, like when right at the cusp of like
Flanagan leaving for Amazon. Yeah. So there are people who think that
and now they don't even want to work with filmmakers who want theatrical releases. So yeah, they're shady pieces of turds. But yeah.
Again, yeah, if this show was like one of their biggest shows ever, that'd be different. But yeah, so it's just this to me is an example because it was very well reviewed. People seem to really like it. And we're even though people thought the first season tells its own story, it was like, oh, we want to see more with these characters. But like the fact that 2 weeks, like just the fact, and I know again that goes to their binge model, and you can't get the week to week growth of people talking about it. But it's just insane that it's like, nope, this is it. Like
Eric, everyone on the show was so old. They were older than the people in backrooms.
Oh my god! Ugh.
That needed to add young people to be killed off in the movie. Spoiler for backrooms. But yeah,
sexy young backrooms.
Sexy young backroom fodder. Okay.
Yes.
And in joyous news, though, Widow's Bay, and this was something I wanted to talk about last news episode, but I forgot it had already been renewed by then, so it's sort of old news. Widow's Bay has been picked up for a season 2. Widow's Bay is an absolute joy and delight, and you should watch it on Apple TV if you have it. Apple TV Plus. I want Matthew Rhys to win. He could probably slip into the Emmy nomination categories because it's technically a horror, but it's also like not in a certain way. It's different because it's a horror comedy, which is a weird label people don't like to use a lot. But I love that show, and I'm glad it's coming back. Though again, it also could have worked just being a one and done, but. Who am I to say? Who am I to stifle the business of show business?
I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for future me because I'm sure I'm going to like this show when I watch it.
All right. Rocky Horror is, speaking of horror comedies, Rocky Horror is going to the Sphere for an experience, much like they did with Wizard of Oz, which for those who don't know, the Wizard of Oz showing at the Sphere was the movie, but also all these different enhancements, and like they hired actors and acrobats and people all around to dress like characters from the movie. And you walk in and it's all decked out to look like Oz and stuff. It's weird that they're doing it with Rocky Horror, but that's fine too, because it's not like a family movie that you would bring a bunch of people to. I think they're slowly trying to figure out what the who's going to pay money to go see things at the Sphere. Like who are we bringing in? What is our target audience? And obviously whatever Rocky Horror and the cult following for that movie hits those metrics. So, are you talking about with I had not heard nothing about actors. Is this just like when you come in? Because when they're showing the movie, they don't have anyone performing. No, it's like at the entrances and stuff like that. I know somebody who was a performer.
Gotcha.
Doing stuff. For that. So I'm assuming this is going to be the same thing. Yeah.
The main thing here, so
they don't do it while the movie's going on. I don't think.
Okay. But yeah. So this is still going, The Wizard of Oz. In fact, the day I saw No Doubt, I checked the schedule, and you could have watched Wizard of Oz earlier in the day. They just can't do the nighttime shows when they have concerts and stuff going on. The main thing to know here is that Wizard of Oz, which debuted last August, the same day they did the press release about Rocky Horror, they did another press release saying since Wizard of Oz debuted in August, they have made $400 million in ticket sales on Wizard of Oz. It has been huge, and it's like, really draws people in. Now, it is also, got its fair share of controversy as far as people who are like, film aficionados, because to do this, to take this movie, Wizard of Oz, even more extreme because it was like full frame by our modern standards, before widescreen, and to have it fill the huge screen at the Sphere, they are expanding the image. And how are they doing that? Of course, they're doing that with AI.
Right.
So there's so much ethical stuff that comes up with taking a dead filmmaker's movie and expanding out the image and being like, well, here's what you would have seen. It also fucks up the framing because if it was a close-up of the Scarecrow, now it's like expansive, yellow brick road behind him, and it just doesn't look the same. Now, I say all that, and there's two sides of me of like, I do think that's pretty fucked up, and I also know people love the experience of seeing Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, including people I'm related to and friends with who have gone and been like, it's awesome. It's just this immersive thing, and it's really cool, and it's very different. And the way they'll pitch it is like, hey, it's this whole like different experience. It's almost like a theme park ride and a movie at once. And I think I told when we talked about No Doubt, I said how I felt like I was on Soarin' for some of it, and so it kind of adds this thing.
He's talking about soaring over California, or soaring over the U.S., or soaring over
the Disney ride, yeah. Which uses a huge screen to like make
not
you feel
Sauron from Lord of the Rings,
right? Which uses a giant screen to make you kind of feel like you're flying. Anyway, it's no surprise they're going to do more movies because of the amazing success it is. I was shocked that this was the first thing owned by Disney to come to Sphere, only because Rocky Horror, one of the most successful cult movies ever made, has ultimately been incredibly financially successful, but it is a cult movie with an adult skewing. It's an adult skewing movie. It doesn't have the reach of Wizard of Oz, and given Disney owns a trillion family movies that would have the kind of reach of Wizard of Oz, I would have expected that to be the first thing that they would license. But I think you're right, Matt. It's like Sphere wants to be all things to all people. It's in Vegas, which both is now trying to be family friendly, but also not forget that they began.
It's hard, yeah. So the Sphere is like, okay, so the Sphere has to appeal to old people with money. So they're like, let's play the Eagles and Grateful Dead experiences and things like these are the musical acts, or even U2 to some extent, right? They also have to appeal to people who are just in Vegas and looking for something to do, right? Like, hey, Wizard of Oz, I heard this is cool. Rocky Horror, I can even see as like an impulse thing. Like, let's see Rocky Horror. But they also, with like No Doubt and stuff like that, who obviously extends beyond SoCal, but like they're also like, who would people drive from Los Angeles to see? Mm-hmm. Like how will we get LA traffic? Because that's the city that's going to be driving here. And so it's like, you're going to see more like niche, like I think LA things. I think Rocky Horror, while a cult movie in many cities over the country, I think it's still like a big LA thing more than other places. So I could see people driving from LA to go see Rocky Horror.
I mean, shitty folk. I don't think it's about LA. I just think it's like, just getting people, because Rocky Horror began its cult midnight life in New York. But it's just like, where can we get people that, and I think you're absolutely right about people will take a day trip for this as an experience. The main reason I wanted to put this on here because I think it's just interesting, and obviously, Rocky Horror is something that I love and was a big part of my family all was really into. So, and I instantly sent this story to my sister because she loves Rocky Horror and actually went to see it last year as one of the 50th anniversary screenings. But I also wanted to put it here, Matt, because you and I had a conversation, I believe, on the podcast because we were talking about No Doubt about what would get me ever back to the Sphere and you to the Sphere in the first place. And we were just talking about concerts because there's a whole other realm of things like this and how we couldn't think of anything that would get either of us there. For me, the second time, for you, the first time. And then I brought this up to my friend April, who was at No Doubt with me. She said she and Darina, former guest on this pod, had the same conversation and they came to a conclusion that I'm like, oh, of course, that hits all of us would want to be there, you included, Matt, that could be asked to. And that is Nine Inch Nails. As far as like a size of a performer that I could conceive.
I get it, but I would think that Trent would have a lot of ethical things with that. And I think, what you're talking about, I don't know. He's literally created one of the best visual and fun experiences ever with his last tour that I went to 3 times and with his Nine Inch Nails performance at Coachella that I'm like, I don't know if I would. I'm not saying I wouldn't go. I'm just saying I don't know if he would do it. That's what I'm saying. Danny Elfman too. Like you could do a Danny Elfman thing.
You could do Danny Elfman probably, with just really pushing the scores.
Yeah.
Of course, way more than Boingo.
I don't know. People would drive from LA to see Boingo stuff. So
I don't know if enough. But Well, ethical, do you mean because they've had things there with AI? Because he wouldn't have to use AI. His stuff would just be whatever he wants it to be.
I know, but they'd have to fill the whole screen with like a movie or something for each
But I
song,
think he'd be
and like
into that.
every set list is the same, and the
Again,
constraints
the
of it.
constraints. I'm just saying it's conceivable. It's conceivable as far as the level of success and interest from us that's one where I can see it potentially happening. And I'll meet you there in 2029.
All right, well there you go. Well, let's just hope Faith No More plays it
Yes,
because
absolutely.
they are touring next year, and that's all I care
I
about.
don't
Okay.
think they're getting booked at the Sphere, but I will try to see them regardless.
Okay. We have a Hollywood death to talk about. Is it Davy Chase?
I think it's DeVay. DeVay.
DeVay Chase,
Mm-hmm.
who was the little girl in the ring, and also Lilo and Stitch, the voice in the movie and the series,
Yep.
has passed away due to an extreme health crisis involving malnutrition and bloodstream infections and meningitis and stuff like that. And I don't know the full story about her sort of tragic end. I know that she was homeless. I know she struggled like with in the business
Mm-hmm.
and with apparently online bullying. And then there's this rift between her boyfriend and her father, and like a suspicious GoFundMe the boyfriend set up. And a lot of this sounds a little bit like Brittany Murphy's bullshit, like that she had with her quote unquote boyfriend, who was sort of like like Munchausen by proxying her and keeping her sick and stuff like that. So I don't want to get into it because I don't know, and it's not my business, but it's tragic. She was a child actress who did a ton of stuff, like mostly as a little girl. But she has passed away at a very young age, 35, I think.
35, yeah. The lead up and event, her death, yeah, awful, and the fact that it's unfortunately another like child star gone wrong thing, where it ultimately looks like just not having the right people looking out for her, because it just feels like if people were more, helping her along the way.
It could be somebody who grew up in the business the wrong way, who wasn't protected, which left her vulnerable to maybe awful people later on.
Yeah, and I feel like that it probably is some version of that. We don't know all the details of that, and it's all, yeah, and not dwelling on that because it's fucking awful and sucks. But I will just say that it's one of those deaths where it's like it's hit people hard, especially young people. The Lilo alone. And it's such a fantastic vocal performance. It's what Lilo & Stitch is one of my favorite Disney movies. And in fact, I'm going to go see it today at 2:00 at the New Beverly. It was coincidentally scheduled for this weekend at the New Beverly. And it's like one of those sort of grim and yet like, oh, well, now it's sort of this tribute screening. But she's so good in it. When I revisited it before the live action version, I was like, oh my God, there is some interesting stuff of like, behind the scenes videos that have surfaced because the DVD had a lot of good stuff, but they're even talking about when they cast her, it's like, oh, she has sort of like a darkness to her, or like, like the fact, why did they cast her to play this kind of weird little girl, that there was an edge to her, and then some of that you're like, now you have to be like, oh, is this because she had a shitty home life? But her performance is so great. But I remember when these movies came out, and I wasn't a kid, but being amazed that it was the same little girl as Lilo and then as Samara, because The Ring came out the same year and was a huge hit. Lilo and Stitch, by the way, being a movie that was a success when it came out, but it became way more of a long-term thing for Disney. And so she had this crazy year of those two movies and being, these very notable characters. She won awards for both movies. I'm talking like MTV award for best villain, and she won like one of the Annies, the big animation award for Lilo and Stitch. But she was like very acclaimed and iconic. It's like she played like, and then the one I didn't know about, Matt, that got brought up a lot, especially by people who were kids back in the day, was she was the voice of the lead in Spirited Away, the US version, the English dub that Disney oversaw when they were doing Miyazaki's movies for their imports back then. And so that was a third thing. And so like a lot of people who were kids, it's like the fact that she was Lilo and the main character in Spirited Away, it was like very, very meaningful. And then I saw a lot of like very nice and sweet and sad fan art of those two characters, but sometimes those two characters and Samara. And so it is this insane thing of being, I was like, wow, that's got to be a mind fuck. And especially if she didn't have a great home life, that she was very iconic very early in life and in a very concentrated part of time.
Yeah.
Even though she worked throughout the 2000s, she was a series regular on Big Love on HBO.
Yeah, she's one of the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. And they gave her a spin-off movie of Donnie Darko, S. Darko.
Darko, yeah.
Yeah. So she was working a lot until the teens, and then you wonder just how much what went wrong. But super sad, but also just, yeah, she was super, super talented. And it's one of those people that a lot of people probably didn't know her name or didn't like think about her specifically. But I think the death has hit really hard if you were a real little kid at the time, because you're like, oh my God, that was the same little girl in those 3 movies. And that those 3 movies are they're great, and they've held up, and they've like had this long life. So yeah, just, yeah, really, really, really sad, but she was awesome. Very, very talented.
Do you have anything you want to say about the brand new day trailer that rolled? It seemed to stumble in late to work on Wednesday.
That was a weird, well, the layout.
When everyone was like waiting for it, but yeah, so.
The rollout was really funny because, so Mr. Matt Fowler's been texting me saying, when's the next Spider-Man trailer? Or will there be another Spider-Man trailer for a while now? And then the rumors started to filter out that it will be Monday of this week. But then they officially announced the ticket on sale was Wednesday of this week. So I said to him, oh, it won't be Monday, it'll be Wednesday, because they do that now. When they do the...
Well, you weren't the only one. It was everyone was like, it'll be Wednesday. Yeah.
Because that's the way it works with the big on sale, whether it's Toy Story or anything, to go, the tickets on sale announcement gets accompanied usually by the final trailer. Now, Spider-Man held back on their first trailer for a long time, longer than people expected. So it's like, okay, well, if the ticket sale is Wednesday, that'll be the day we get the new trailer. And then they did this weird thing of the tickets went on sale, no trailer, and then like 8 hours later the trailer came out. So
yeah, it was weird because there was like, I know there were probably a lot of like weird like legal marketing people like having, it was probably a bunch of like too many fucking cooks, right? Like holding that shit up. But it was like weird because the tickets went on sale, but an hour before the tickets went on sale, they're like, first new images, and then it was like an hour after the tickets went on sale, it's like, and here's Tom and Zendaya like talking about it, and I'm like, is this all we're getting? It's just like other peripheral things, supplemental materials. Then it came late. Do you have anything to say about it other than the fact that they're still not Sadie syncing us?
They're still holding back on the sync, even though if she's not playing who everyone thinks she's playing, it'll be a very strange swerve at this point. Telekinesis, telepathy, what's happening? Who could this be? Who this redheaded actress is playing? But no, it's a really good trailer. I'm glad they revealed hulking out, only because all the toys that are, not that we wouldn't expect it anyway, but all these toys are already out there that show like Savage Hulk. So we got that in the trailer. But also, I think my biggest pleasant surprise from this trailer is Punisher's in more of this movie than we expected, because we thought he was only in 1 sequence, and now he's at least in 2.
I think we thought he was in 2 because he even says in the original one, he's like, "You're losing it, kid." Not in the original scene. I mean, there was one more scene with him, but now we know it involves MJ. But yeah,
yes. So it just seems like, I don't think he's going to be his like partner the whole movie, but I have a feeling he's heavy in the first act, and then he comes back in the third act when he needs MJ to be protected. And it's intriguing that when there's that like wave that seems to be like taking over everyone mentally, but you see him not affected, like Frank Castle not affected. So that was fun. And then the other thing I'll say is that obviously the first trailer heavily hinted at, but this trailer kind of confirms organic web shooters. And this is a really full circle funny thing, seeing how things evolve, Matt, because when the first movie came out, us comic book purists, that was the thing to bitch about. It was like, why did they take away the web shooters from the comics that he made?
Right.
And now there's so much nostalgia for the Tobey Maguire movie that people are so hyped that he's going to have organic web shooters, because that's how they knew Spider-Man first. Yeah.
So is Gene causing all this, or is there this other third party that we don't know about? Like,
is probably
this mystery
Jean
villain
Grey
being held back?
Yeah, is the character we all assume to be Jean Grey the villain? And I mean, obviously, she will be redeemed. If Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey, which we assume she is, and for whatever misguided reason she's doing these things, then is she just doing it on her own, or is something manipulating her in turn? I don't know.
Or is there like a Shadow Kingy thing that she's chasing, or who knows? But yeah.
I saw also that, by the way, there's so much in this movie, and it's funny, like we still haven't seen any footage. I think there might be some image out there of him, but we haven't seen Tombstone at all in there. But I guess It is confirmed. We knew his name was Bill from the first trailer, but that Tremel Tillman's character is William Metzger, who is an anti-mutant character from the X-Men, which obviously, yeah. And so,
okay, because my original theory was that he was fucking, Jackal or whoever, but yeah.
No, he is this character from X-Men Children of the Atom who's anti-mutant, and so that only
leads to X-Men shit, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Which also I think people were mentioning because Bruce Banner's talking about like how would you know what's good and bad in someone's like DNA, and so it does seem like this movie is going to start to lean into all this like mutant stuff as they head towards
as Peter's DNA mutates. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
okay. Mm-hmm. We have no use, but if you want to write in, you can write into weenjoypodcast@gmail.com. Comment on something over on Patreon. Comment on something on our Discord.
If you have feelings about Tiny Tim and his music in the Insidious
we movies. Have Insidious Chapter 3 is coming up next in our run. And also, we're on YouTube. Look for We Enjoy Podcast on YouTube.
We're talking about it? Okay, let's talk.
I already brought it. I already put it to people on Discord and a couple people, though one person said we're not on YouTube podcasts. So look into that, Eric. I don't know what that entails. But if you want to actually listen to us, there's no video component, and you'd be thankful for that. Is that you could just do that through YouTube as well. Okay. Eric, I have no recommendations because it's certainly not the Burrows. Do you have a recommendation?
I'll recommend Toy Story 5.
I guess I'll recommend that too because I did enjoy that. We both enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
A rare occasion of me seeing it before Eric, but yes.
Yes, you did. Toy Story 5 is great. Matt and I were discussing. He was more outwardly negative on 4 than I was, even though I absolutely think Ford is the weakest of this franchise. I'd
only seen it once and I was sort of done. It didn't grab me at all. This one, on the other hand, did. So.
Yes, I think that this is I understand the sentiment of like they should have ended at 3, but in a world where that was never going to happen, where Disney was not going to let that happen, I think Toy Story 5 is much more of a ideal Toy Story sequel. And I think that what I really like about it is that functionally it's a Jessie spinoff movie. It's called Toy Story 5, but it's basically a Jessie spinoff movie, and it works really well in that regard. And things that some people might gripe about, which is, the original toy characters are very sidelined, and Woody doesn't even need to be in this movie. And again, I know they wrote a draft of the script where he wasn't in this movie, is all true, but it doesn't stop the movie from being incredibly entertaining and heartwarming and sweet and all the things you want from Toy Story. And I really like how both Jessie's story and how Bonnie as a character is more centered than the kid characters in the previous movies ever were. And it does a very good job of paralleling these two characters. And I've seen it twice, and it's played really well both times I've seen it. And
if this had been the follow-up to 3, I wouldn't have been as irked. But yeah, it wouldn't have made sense story-wise fully, but this is the type of movie that you want to do.
Guess what?
To continue the franchise. So,
guess what? Trish has still never seen Toy Story 4, went with me to see Toy Story 5. She said, "What do I need to know?" I said, "Woody's not with them anymore."
Yeah, Woody's outside. Woody lives outside now.
Yes. And
Woody's with the Force people.
Although I did go, I know, she hasn't met Forky. I mean, she's aware of Forky because of pop culture. But
again, like you said, a lot of the characters are sidelined, so they just say random walla here and there. So
yeah. Especially as some of them have died, and they don't want you to be thinking about Don Rickles as not voicing Mr. Potato Head.
Look, if we can get over Varney, we can get over Rickles.
I'm never getting over either. So how about that?
Well, you showed me. All right. I will also just give another recommendation because I know I have recommended years ago on the podcast, as I am rewatching now and showing my girlfriend for the first time, Station 11, the miniseries that was a Max exclusive back in 2020, the perfect year for a story about a global pandemic. But it is fabulous and moving and thought-provoking, and I love those series. Anyway, Station 11.
Wait,
based on a book. What's that?
Did I already recommend The Furious? I can't remember anymore.
You did last week.
Okay, well, you should still see it because
I know. It's still technically playing. I could.
I mean, I was telling everyone, but you too, Matt. You should go see it.
Well, fine. I thought this was just a conversation between the two of us.
We are, by the way, not shockingly, yeah, we enjoy podcasts on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to us there, we are not quite filled in all our back catalog, but it'll be there soon. But a lot of it is, if you want to listen to what we sounded like in 2021, in the thick of the pandemic.
God damn it, I sure do not.
You can go back to that along with the recent episodes.
All right, and that's been our episode. And until next time, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shakma.
Shakma.
Shakma!